Welcome to the Football Show. I'm Peter Martin. Alan Roth, Neil Lennon and Tam McManus are with me, and here's what's coming up on the show. Robson hits out of a Rangers 90th minute penalty award that saw Aberdeen miss out on a second successive win over the Ibrox side.
Doesn't look good. Another bad decision going for Rangers way in 90th minute again.
Philippe Clement bemoans 2 drop points as Rangers failed to take advantage of Celtic's slip-up in the title race.
We lose 2 points. The big working point is our first 50 minutes were not good.
Brendan Rodgers insists Celtic showed a lack of finesse in the final third as they dropped points against a resilient Motherwell. Stephen Naismith claims the missed penalty for Hearts was down to poor decision making and not VAR after Alan Forrest was denied a spot kick.
A penalty all day long, but our referees refereeing the game differently now because they're thinking VAR might step in.
Yeah, lots to talk about in a Scottish sense, in the Scottish Premiership, and we'll also be looking at what's happening in the English Premier League. We start on a rather sad note because yesterday it was confirmed that the former Spurs in England manager, Terry Venables, had passed away at the age of 80 years. I always think of Terry Venables and look at Euro 96 when he was managing the England side, Neil. He was charismatic. I mean, not only was he a good footballer and a good manager, but he wrote a couple of books. I think he was actually involved in the one of the programmes, which was one of the books which was eventually turned into a programme. Hazel, I think it was.
Yeah, he wrote that's right. I don't know if he wrote I'm sure he wrote a couple of episodes for it, Pete.
Yeah.
But he was very wide-ranging, Terry, in what he did. But yeah, I mean, he was very innovative as a coach, and you know, he must have looked back on '96 as the one that got away because they were playing brilliantly at the time.
Yeah, and they had a fantastic team, Ruffy, at that time. Mm-hmm. I mean, SAS as it was Sutton and Shearer. Sheringham, sorry, and you know, lots of really good players, including the genius, the world class one in Gaza.
Yeah, I mean, I never met the guy, but I mean, I'm just listening to everybody saying a few words about him. You know, top footballers, icons of the game down in England, and every one of them had a good word to say. Am I right in saying he took Stevie Archibald to Barcelona?
Yeah, Mark Hughes and Lineker.
And Lineker, yeah. You know, no, everybody was saying very kind things about him, so well up there with everybody.
Yeah, the strange thing is, and a lot of people sometimes don't realise, you know, he could have won the Champions League with Barcelona because he got them into
Stour beat them.
Yeah, and Stour were the worst side I've ever witnessed in my life. I ever think about a team that never deserved it. They absolutely just dug in, didn't want to attack, you know, fouled at every opportunity they possibly could, and it was a really talented Barcelona side. And this, remember, by the way, Tam, was a Barcelona side that hadn't won since 1974. He actually won La Liga with them. I mean, he was a really talented man abroad as well.
Yeah, I think with Barcelona, I think he was well remembered and well thought of over there. He's unlucky he's got to the final in Euro 96. I thought England were going to win it at one point. Sadly for Scottish people, they looked as if they were a stick on. And Gaza's sliding in.
Yeah.
You know, just about an inch away from putting that ball in the net, and I think, you know, they won it then. But listen, it's one of those things where they didn't win it, but he still goes down as a tremendous character and tremendous manager.
Yeah, absolutely. I did have the good fortune to interview him ahead of the double header, Ruffy, when Scotland were taking on England to qualify for the European Championships, and he was that charismatic figure. But a lot of people pay tribute to him more so for his coaching, which at times was ahead of his time as well.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You know, the players that played with him or played against him, you know, that was the first thing they always said, that his coaching ability was maybe 5 or 10 years ahead of everybody else. So it's good that they said the nice things about him.
Yeah, absolutely. And our thoughts and prayers go out to his family and friends. Terry Venables, who passed away over the weekend at the age of 80. With that, we move on to football, and the SPFL, and especially the Scottish Premiership, never too far away from controversy. And as ever, Aberdeen and Rangers always throws it up. So there's so much to talk about. The ultimate thing is, though, Tam McManus, Rangers dropped points.
Yeah, they did, and I think it's bitterly disappointing if you're a Rangers fan after Celtic drawn the day before. What an opportunity for Rangers to go up there and cut the gap. They go behind early doors and you still fancy them to win the game, but I don't think they've done enough, Peter. I think the draw was probably a fair result. I thought the Aberdeen, particularly in the first half, could have scored 2 or 3. I thought Rangers were all over the place, very square back. The two strikers that Aberdeen went with, I thought was a good tactic. They went with the two strikers. Doesn't usually play the two. He went with those two, and Miovski got the goal. And then second half, I thought Aberdeen kind of dug in and tried to hang on to the 1-0. And then when Rangers get the goal late in the game, I think it's a penalty, Peter. We'll obviously speak about that. I think the defender panics when he gets blocked and he just tugs him. And I think with VAR now, I think that's going to be a penalty most of the time. So I thought it was a penalty kick, and obviously Barry Robson's raging about it, but in my opinion, I thought it was a penalty. I thought it was pure defending.
Okay, well, you've encapsulated the whole of the game there, so there's no point in talking about it all now. Let's say Sam's decision is final. Before we get to that, of course, Philippe Clement, the Rangers boss, reckons it's definitely 2 points dropped.
And I think it's for everybody really clear that it's a penalty. Connor's shirt is really pulled, so at the end we lose 2 points. The big working point is our first 15 minutes were not good, and I said it to the team also.
Well, if he thought it was a penalty, certainly on the VAR decision, Barry Robson was having none of it.
Stefan got blocked. I think we all see that. So obviously VAR have just no bothered looking at the block and have just looked at the pool of the shark, and we're in trouble, aren't we? If this is the way it's going to go, we're in trouble. It doesn't look great. This doesn't look great. For me, it just doesn't look good. Another VAR decision going for Rangers way in 90th minute again. This doesn't look good for us. I don't know. I'm just frustrated.
Well, I've got to contest the point when he says it doesn't look good for the league. It doesn't matter if it's the first minute or the 91st minute. If it's a penalty, it's a penalty. Is it a penalty?
Yeah, I think it's if in the rule book it says pulling a jersey is a penalty, it's a penalty. I think the defender's wrong in what he did. I still think it's a cheap penalty. I'd like to know if he goes to VAR and the discussion goes along the lines of when he pulled his jersey, was he stopping a goal scoring opportunity? Because I think that's got to be taken into consideration as well. That is he going in and is the ball coming over and is it a goal scoring opportunity? But if it's just pulling the jersey, then it's a penalty.
It's not a penalty for me.
Yeah.
I didn't think there was enough. There is a shirt that he has got hold of the shirt, but it's not like he's really dragging it. And the other thing is, I think Goldson really goes down theatrically. And when I look at it again, I watched it a couple of times, and then we were talking about the blocking. We had this conversation a few weeks ago with Stephen Naismith, the exact same thing. So, by the letter of the law, if you want to call it that, then there's a consistency there. But I've seen other shirt pulls, going unpunished. But for me, I can understand Barry's frustration because, and then I get the other side of the argument where everyone else thinks it is a penalty. For me, there's not enough in the tug, if you want to call it. I think he's got a hold of his shirt for a split second. But that's also because he's panicked, because he's got blocked, Pete. That's obstruction in the box.
Yeah, but see, if you're a manager, do you then turn round to your defender and say, why give the referee the chance there to do that? Would you bollock him for even tugging in the first place?
No, because it goes on a lot. Sometimes you get a grip of the shirt there, or you can get a grip of the shirt that you're there. Really, Goldson's got a bit of a run on because Lammers has done the block. There's obviously work at it, and it's within the laws of the game because there's blocking at most set players. But for me, I just didn't think there was enough in the shirt pull to bring Goldson down, and for that to be awarded. I looked at it in slow motion a couple of times, and I still think he goes down like almost late. He realises he's got a hold of the shirt. He realises he's not getting the ball, and he goes down, and that's enough to obviously catch the attention. And I've seen guys talk about this over the weekend, saying they were convinced it was a penalty, but I'm just not sure there was enough in it.
The other aspect of this, which I think is something that annoys everyone, everybody's got their opinion on whether they think it was a penalty or not, is the consistency of it. And the consistency, if it is a penalty, then fine. Consistently every week, as soon as somebody's jersey
a lot of penalties, Peter.
Well, even if there's going to be a lot of penalties, I have to pick you up every time we discuss this. If there's going to be a lot of penalties, then there's going to be a lot of penalties. That's what the managers and the players are hacked off at. If you're going to say that one's a penalty, then everyone's a penalty.
Yep, and I totally agree with you, Peter. I think if you're looking at defending in the box, I think you're going to see 5, 6, 7, 8 instances of that exact same thing that happens. You know, whether you're trying to get ahead of somebody in the pulley or impede you, there's going to be a lot of instances of the same thing. So you've got to give it all the time. So I'm fine with that. I thought it was a penalty, but if that's a penalty, they're going to have to be eagle-eyed every game now, because there's going to be 3, 4 penalties a game.
Yeah.
What about the block then? And both the managers who conceded the penalty, Stephen against Rangers at Ibrox and then Barry yesterday, is that not a foul? You know, what they're asking, is that not impeding my player from getting a run to Mark Goldson? It's really good for Rangers because everybody does it.
Yeah.
But it's actually illegal to do that.
Yeah.
So while they're looking at this, Pete, the block comes first and then the shirt pull. But what guys were saying is he's already got hold of his shirt. I wasn't convinced.
Well, here's the other aspect of it, Robbie, that I want you to discuss and analyse for me and answer. And again, if you want to chip in, by all means do so. He's given the penalty. Now, what I think, even with everybody getting together to explain certain decisions earlier on in the week, they'd taken a number of people in to go back over it at the VAR studios. And again, great credit to the referees for at least sharing how they've come to some decisions. But I still think my biggest problem with it is this. We need the transparency and we need the audio relayed so that everybody can understand what the VAR referee is saying to the referee. Because if you're in a situation where you are constantly slowing something down frame by frame by frame, and then what we're not hearing is the VAR referee and his comments to the referee, because ultimately for me, when you had that smooth transition over in the English Premier League, 2 seasons ago when they started to, go through it and there wasn't as many complaints, it was because they gave the referee the ultimate power to say, listen, they can just enlighten you of what they think you've made a mistake on. Ultimately, you make the quick decision on whether you think you've made a mistake or not. Not, let's slow it down frame by frame by frame and constantly in his ear saying something. I want to hear what they're saying.
That's what we said. It'd be great if you could hear the dialogue. I mean, Neil's already touched on the block. When the referee went over to the VAR monitor, did they discuss the block? Did the block come into the equation, or was it a pull of a shirt? And the pull of the shirt is yes. I think if it's a goal scoring opportunity, then it's a penalty. I don't think he was going to score there because Rangers played, I think it was a near post ball, and I think Lundstrom headed it. So even though he hadn't tugged his jersey, he wasn't getting a chance to score the goal because the ball wasn't getting near him. So I would prefer a direct free kick if it's on the 18-yard box or something like that, the player getting booked and moving on. I just think getting a penalty for something like that is cheap. Yeah.
Well, I'm swaying towards you on the fact that if I was the manager, I'm saying, why are you pulling his jersey? Don't give the referee that decision. I tend to be in your camp on it. I'm thinking, you've tugged the jersey, you've given the referee a decision. The block is another aspect of it, which again is another phase before he's tugged the jersey. That's another debate.
Teams need to wisen up to it now against Rangers.
Well,
that's twice it's happened.
I
think managers have to play against Rangers.
I think that's unfair, Tam, what you've just said. I don't want anybody to, it's almost like last week when we have to listen to, a situation where, and I don't like going through broadcaster to broadcaster, but we have to listen to Chris Boyd talking about Aberdeen players only getting up for games against Rangers, which is basically criticising the professionalism of Aberdeen players, which I think is wrong. I thought he got that wrong. But you can't just say it's against Rangers. To go down into what I call pub chat and just
I don't think that's what Tom's trying to make. Tom's saying basically Rangers do it very well. Yeah.
Is that what you've got to be aware of that as a manager.
Exactly. That's
what your players don't get blocked.
It's not because it's Rangers are getting penalties for it. It's because they're good at what they do on it.
Yeah. But everybody does that, Tom.
Of course they do. Yeah.
They do, but Rangers that's a couple of times they've got penalties for it. So I think if Neil's a manager of Hibs and they're playing Rangers next week, I would expect Neil to say to his defenders, listen, set pieces don't get blocked, watch them block.
Either that or you might have to go zonal, Tom.
Yep.
Do you know what I mean? And then that takes out the man-to-man stuff and the blocking and all that type of thing.
Did they deserve a point?
Oh yeah, no question. Second half they dominated the game. I mean, they hit the woodwork, twice. They had good chances in the first half. Balogun with a header. Goalkeepers made a great save from Lawrence. So I didn't think they started the game well at all.
Yeah.
And they were very sloppy with the goal. It was, Tom touched on, really square, awful defending and a great finish. But previously to that, they had a one-on-one situation as well, which Butland saved. They didn't get into the first half was below par for them. I thought second half, they did enough to get something out of the game, but it's not enough, Pete.
Yeah, and the other aspect of this as well, couple of points. One of our journalists pointed out that back four that started for Rangers was the same back four that started the opening day of the season in 2020. It hasn't changed. It's Tavernier, it's Barisic, it's Golson, it's Balogun.
Yeah, but sometimes you would say that's good. If you're a manager, I'm sure you would say, if I get a settled back four, they all know what they're doing, the more they play together, the better they'll get. If it's the same goalkeeper, it's a great back five. You know, I don't think any of them have been disappointing. I think just sometimes they get caught out.
Big opportunity missed. Huge opportunity.
Massive, Peter. I think when Celtic draw at home to Motherwell, you know, if you're Rangers, you're thinking, we can get right back in this with 3 points. But they started poorly and they could have been 2-0 down early doors before they get into the game second half. So no, I thought it was a real opportunity missed for Rangers, and it won't give them confidence going forward to try and catch Celtic.
And 2 quick points on this. We're talking about various incidents that go on in the game. One thing that's not good for the game is Todd Cantwell's dive.
Peter's embarrassing. I mean, I think he should get cited for that. I think he should get a 2-game ban for that. I was looking 2017 Alex Schalk against Celtic. I don't know if you were the manager, Neil. Might have been Brendan. Where he went down, dived in the box, and they get the penalty and they get the last minute equaliser.
Ross County, yeah.
Up at Ross County, and you get a 2-game retrospective ban. Not just Cantwell, the boy Vargas at Hearts was equally as bad. I think both of them should get cited and should get 2-game bans. That's just cheating, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I can't disagree with it at all. It was a really bad, and it's not, we're not isolating Todd Cantwell here, but just that specific incident looked really, really horrendous.
Yeah, and the point that I think overall, Ruffy, and this is just from my own personal point of view, I thought it was a dreadful game. I thought the football was diabolical. Some of the actual play of lumping the ball up into the air, and listen, I am of the belief that there are many ways to win a game. You know, you don't get into the ring and suddenly you've got to be the most pure boxer ever. Or equally, you don't go into a game and you have to play tiki-taka Barcelona football. But mother of God, the game was absolutely dire. I'm sitting there looking at it and thinking, right, there's another header into the stand. There's another blooter into the stand. This game's murder.
Technical term?
Yes, absolutely. It's one of those ones where I'm thinking to myself, this game's murder. And when it finished, I turned it over, and the first 6 minutes of the Tottenham Villa game, it was unbelievable. I mean, it was unbelievable the way they went about playing. And I think you make a great point, Neil, which again, I stand and I'm willing to take your point on it, which is quite simply, we don't have the players to play the way they were playing Tottenham Villa. But I sometimes think a manager can say, let's try and play football. It's dire.
Aberdeen play a certain way, Pete, and they are direct. And I've watched them a lot this season. I was at the semi-final against Hibs, and Barry will put that down to the amount of games they're playing and this type of stuff. Then I saw them play against Celtic at Celtic Park, and they were woeful. And they don't play that style of football. So it was a clash of styles yesterday, and Rangers sort of got married into that a little bit. I've seen Rangers play some really good football this year at times, but sometimes when you come up against a team as physical and as direct as Aberdeen are, then you sort of sometimes get sucked into their style of play.
Yeah.
I know what you're saying.
You're on one today, by the way.
Yeah, I know.
Anytime.
I know what you're saying about the 90 minutes of the football, but I think there was enough goalmouth incidents to sort of say it wasn't that bad. There was great saves, there was moments of magic, and the excitement you get in both areas. So I know what you're talking about, but you're talking about.
But then you're switching over to watch 2 great teams at the minute, playing brilliant football.
Invested millions. And
it's hundreds of millions.
I see that when I turned over to that game, how many British players were on that ground? On that part with their 2 teams.
Well, listen, do you want me to tell you something? I mean, at the end of the day, managers can tell players to play a certain way. And I just thought yesterday it was not a great advert for our game. It looked as if we were playing a game from the 1970s. It really did.
Right, here, I saw passages of play where a player could have got turned and played forward, Pete.
Yeah.
But he didn't have the awareness or the soft feet to do it.
Yeah.
You know, and they've got 3 centre halves, Aberdeen. They're not the types to get on the ball and play out from the back.
Yeah.
They're just simply not.
And can I tell you something though? I mean,
And I'm not just saying Aberdeen, like, you know, there's a few teams, some teams do try, but, you know, they get punished for it.
well, even with a back three, and you played in a 3-5-2 system under Martin O'Neill, the one thing that, you know, playing that system, there's an onus on the midfield to come short and make themselves available and build it.
Correct. But then
was-
there's also an onus on, more and more in the modern game anyway, the most touches that the players have are centre halves now. You know, if you look at the stats, and even in the Premier League, you've Van Dijk, you know, and maybe a Rodri or something like that, Tom. But you know, most of the time, the possession-built game, you got to be good on the ball at centre half.
Yeah. Well, maybe I'm on one. Maybe
You're on one
I
today.
didn't think it was that bad, Peter. I think I've seen worse games.
You get a good night's sleep.
To be fair, well, the reason I'll tell you this because I went through.
Somebody spiked one of his
scaring me,
rigs.
by the way.
Somebody spiked one of his rigs.
No,
up Aberdeen.
I went through to St Mirren. I went through to St Mirren Hibs the week before on the Tuesday night, cold night, and the two teams played football. They tried to play football. I'm just saying the whole emphasis on trying to play football. You don't necessarily need a whole team full of foreigners who all got technically good, feet. St Mirren Hibs tried to play football on the deck.
Hibs are one of the better footballing teams in the division, I have to say.
Yeah.
But they've got players that are catered for that style. And maybe Barry's style he wants to be different.
And in contrast, the next game we're going to talk about, maybe they play too much football.
Probably. But look at Barry's goal yesterday. 2 touches and it's in the back of the net from the goalkeeper.
Yeah.
Royce to Scholar flicks it on, bump, goal. So what works and what doesn't work, Pete?
No, exactly. Listen, it depends on what way you like your football.
Yeah, aye.
You know, if you like your football Brendan Rodgers' way, at the moment it's 52 passes and no end product.
Look, they were brilliant against Aberdeen 2 weeks previously. You know, they won 6, and you're thinking, right, they're on a bit of a. They've got the bit between the teeth. I didn't see that coming, I have to say, the draw against Motherwell. I thought with the form that Motherwell have been in recently, and obviously Celtic at home, it would have been a comfortable home win. So I didn't see the game, I have to be honest. But, you know, I always look at the goal attempts, you know, and if it's round about, particularly at home at Celtic, if it's 20 plus, then they're doing something right. But I think maybe the build-up plays not as quickly as it was under Ange, but that's just Brendan's way.
Yeah. Is it fair to say they're out in front? Rangers don't look as if they're capable of catching them at the minute. I still stick by what I said at the start of the season. I still think Celtic will win the league by minimum 10 points. But right now, there's been little flashes, I think, mainly in Europe, where you can see the tremendous potential of Brendan and what he's trying to do. They've got injuries, I accept that, but it's not quite clicked the way he wants it at the moment.
No, it hasn't, and it's been disappointing. 2 disappointing draws at home. I think St Johnstone 0-0, Motherwell 1 each. They scored a late winner against St Mirren. You know, he won 2-1. So
0-0 at Hibs.
Yep, 0-0 at Hibs. So they're either batting teams or they're struggling. There's no really in between at the minute. So I would still expect Celtic to win the league, but I've been a wee bit disappointed with them at times this season. I don't think that Celtic and Rangers are that great this season. I think there's opportunities for other teams to pick up points against this Celtic team, this Rangers team, if you've got belief in what you're doing. And Motherwell have been struggling, but I just didn't think that Celtic would blow them away. I don't know what it is at the minute with Celtic, with Brendan. There's just something not clicking, something not right, and I think they struggled, you know, to put the ball in the back of the net, which they've done at various times this season. So I think that Brendan will be looking to try and strengthen that forward area in the window, because the players that are coming in, I don't think are good enough.
Now, so O's not good enough?
I don't think he's good enough. I think Celtic need a better striker.
You thought he was good enough last week?
No, I think Celtic need to get better. I think Celtic need to get better wide players as well. They're missing players. I appreciate that, but the final third for me, Celtic, there's something no clicking for me.
Yeah, here's what Brendan Rodgers had to say at the end of the game. A draw at home always feels like a defeat. We've had enough opportunities to win the game. Over 80% possession. We didn't create as much as we'd like, but the chances we had should have been enough. You need quality and that bit of finesse in the final third. And sadly, we didn't quite have that. Ruffy, what do you make of his comments?
I think he's right. The quality's not there now. I think if you look at when Celtic were playing particularly well, the Jotas, Abadas, Hatate, the two fullbacks were probably wingers. That's not happening this year. But I think Celtic have fell into the same trap that Rangers generally fell into. And Neil might contradict me in this one. I think when new players come in and all of a sudden they get thrown into the team, I don't think some of them can handle the pressure of winning. They might come on when Celtic are winning 3-0, 4-0, and they'll look great, fantastic, but you throw them on when it's nothing each, with 5 minutes to go, 6 minutes to go, it's a different pressure. They're new to the team, they're getting a chance to impress the manager, and I just don't think, not all of the new boys, but the majority of the new ones can't handle the pressure of winning for Celtic.
I think it's fair to, raise question marks at times, Pete, when the results aren't what you think they're going to be. Although, I had a bugbear about it last year where no one could touch Celtic and Rangers. Every time they played, they were winning the games comfortably.
Yeah.
Now we're going through a spell, and this is going to be a really tough spell between now and the end of the year, where you got a lot of games, and I think Rangers, Aberdeen have got 12 of them. Celtic maybe have 11 or something like that, roughly. These you got to sort of dig in and grind out results. The beauty of the Aberdeen game for me was they got the early goal, Pete, and then that settles everything down. When teams come and bank 10 behind the ball, if you're not breaking them down, you got to move the ball a lot quicker and be a little bit more, put more crosses. But although to be fair, somebody said they put in 46 crosses, so. Maybe they haven't got the player to get on the end of crosses, or the quality of the crosses weren't good enough. But he's definitely touching on the quality in the final third. And it's not like Celtic to have to rely on penalties to win games at home,
Yeah. By the way, the other thing I've got to point out here, Ruffy, although Celtic 2 penalties, Motherwell deserve credit for that goal from John Abika. They come back and quickly got the equaliser.
Yeah, they certainly did. I think you have to give them credit for the whole game. That the way he set his stall out, obviously they would get through a right bad spell. So I would think in the training they would say, right, we're going to go to Celtic, we're going to be under the cosh for what you're saying, 80% of the game. So let's be organised, and that's what they were. From the 4 or 5 at the back and whoever was in front of them, they all got behind the ball, they made it difficult. And as I said on numerous occasions, I think teams now have caught on to Celtic's success of getting the ball wide and getting it into Kyogo, and he's half a yard shot. I think now defensively teams know what they're going to get when they go there, and if everybody to a man does their job, they've got a chance of getting something.
Yeah, well, I think it stops the rot for Stuart Kettlewell. 2 penalties against them, though. Were they penalties?
Yeah, I think they were, Peter. I think they were penalty kicks. I think particularly when Mikey Johnson, he's pulled them. It's a pull in the box, it's a tug. I was surprised that Palmer missed the first one, to be honest. He's been pretty lethal from that situation. He's good dead ball, and Turnbull's got the bottle to go up and take the second one, and you think Celtic will go and win the game, but as the guys are saying there, fair play to Motherwell for hanging on in there. At 1-0 you're never out the game, and a dreadful goal for Celtic to lose. It's just a cross into the box, and the goalkeeper, I didn't think covers his own glory, kind of starfishes, and the boy nods into the goal. So no, I think that Celtic need to improve, and they need to improve quickly, because I think there's still a title race here, Peter.
With 8 points, despite the fact Rangers have 1 game in hand.
Yeah, no, I do. I don't think Celtic are bang at it at the minute, and that's why it's so disappointing for Rangers yesterday that they didn't go up there and close the gap, because they'd closed the gap really, on Celtic, and Celtic got off the hook with the Motherwell game. It's
going to be really interesting come January. 2 big unknowns for me is, you always treat an AGM with a pinch of salt. Well, I do, and maybe not yourself, but with any AGM when they go and we're going to spend money, Brendan Rodgers is going to try and offload and trim that squad and hope that he gets a certain character that can drive them on, not only for the league, but maybe get them well equipped, ready for next year's European football.
Yeah, they're going to the game tomorrow, and it's a must-win. So if they don't get the win, then they're going to finish fourth in the group, and then there's no European football after Christmas. So that'll have a bearing, Pete, I think, on the January transfer window. And then what they may look at is looking to bed players in between January and August, for the start of next season. So I do think there's funds there, and I think he will want to improve the squad. There's no doubt. And I think you're right. I think he'll want to trim it a bit as well.
Yeah, Rangers. This is the conundrum now. How much money does Philippe Clement have in January to strengthen the side? If they can close the gap on Celtic by obviously, I think, trying to win at Celtic Park, Ruffy. And then if it is title race on, as Tam has suggested, there's a £60 million kitty waiting for the team who wins the league, Ruffy. They're straight into the group stages of the Champions League, the new format.
Yeah, I'm sure both boards will know that scenario, and it will be interesting in January which one of the two of them flexes their muscle. I do agree with Tam. I think Brendan Rodgers wish it was January the now, to move that calendar on, because I think he's going to delve in. I think he knows the importance of, if Neil's right, they fail in Europe. The fans have been hanging on for a couple of years now, just putting up with getting turned over in Europe. I think that there's going to be a time when Brendan's going to get really judged by his European record. So for him, he'll want to improve on that, and the only way to do that is to bring in better players.
Yeah.
Not just Europe. They've got to win the league. Mm-hmm. Celtic, and they're clear at the minute. It's not been convincing, but then you look at Rangers yesterday and you're thinking, can they put a title challenge in, Pete? We don't know. And again, you're right, you call the game on the 30th of December. That's going to be pivotal, I think. It was last year, because Rangers were winning and Celtic were 9 points clear, and that would have cut it to 6 and it was game on, but then Kyogo equalised late on, and then that 9 point buffer basically for me sort of settled the league then.
Yeah.
I couldn't see Celtic losing a 9 point gap then.
No, I think that is...
Rangers need to beat Celtic at Parkhead.
I think it's a title decision.
They need to win. Rangers need to win. If Celtic draw that game, I think they're going to win the league comfortably. If Rangers win, it's game on. But Rangers need to go to Parkhead and win.
But we don't know. The other thing is, Tom, we don't know what's going to happen in between.
Yeah, because
you look at them dropping points.
Yeah.
You just don't know what's going to happen in this. This is a really intense period for both teams now.
Can you see a lightning strike twice? Can you see Celtic winning in Italy tomorrow?
I'd love to see it.
I know you'd love to see it, but
I don't see why not. And I'll tell you why. I wasn't impressed with Lazio at all. They've been beaten again this weekend by the bottom club. There's problems there, and I know we're sort of like talking over the weekend result. They need to start the game. They need to get the first goal, and if they can do that, then they've got a chance. But they have to win it, Pete.
Yeah, lost to Salanterna 2-1. Not in great form, Ruffy. In fact, 1 win in the last 4. Do you fancy Celtic to do it?
No, not really. No. I think they're capable enough of getting a draw, but as Neil said, it needs to be a win. We're sitting here talking about the evidence of what we witnessed with Celtic. I'm sure over in Italy, the same PLZ. Have we got a firm over there? No.
Yeah.
They'll be sitting going. They'll be sitting there going, "Did you see Celtic at the weekend?" So I think both teams aren't playing particularly well. So it's on the night for me. It's you're looking for big players to turn up on the night.
Yeah, and PLZ Italy, it's Paolo Maldini sitting there.
Dino's off.
Have we got a journeyman? No.
Well, just kind of worked our way down in the standard of pundit, Ruffy. Paolo Maldini.
If he's got the same contract as me, I'm quite happy.
Absolutely, I can't see Celtic winning.
I couldn't back Celtic away from home in Europe. Their record's abysmal. For
me, the mindset has got to be, Tom, just go for it.
Yeah, there's nothing to lose, which is the only thing. But the injuries, if Celtic their full team out, I could maybe see it, but they're getting crippled a minute with injuries, particularly in the forward areas. So I think Lazio will beat them.
Okay, I think we're all agreed on that. You're going for a win?
I'm going to stick my neck out and go, they'll win it.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
But that's it's just the It's just the eternal optimist.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hey, been there, done that, Pete.
Absolutely. That's it.
Can't even that hard.
Just like that. like that Panama cigar, will you, when you deliver that line? Hearts 1, St Johnstone 0. Wasn't a great return from Craig Levein to go to Tynecastle, his old stomping ground, but I think his main concern for St Johnstone is they've got to start winning.
Yeah, I'm positive about that, but I mean, you still got to do it. It's all right, coming in after games and saying there's a lot of pleasing things. Getting the points is the only thing that gets you up the table. So that's priority for us.
Well, there was a little bit of a kick when he came in as the manager, back down to reality, and he knows exactly what's facing him. As far as Hearts are concerned, Stephen Naismith, and I always get worried when you have one of these meetings with the SFA and the VAR trying to explain certain decisions. Everybody gets together and managers hope that, once they've discussed things, that it'll all start to even itself out and understand each other's position. Stephen Naismith certainly thought they should have had a stonewall penalty.
I think we've been given a penalty against us for less. And it's no down to VAR. It's down to the decision making. It's every week. We have a meeting during the week, which was a good meeting, productive. Everybody probably scheduling should help to get everybody at these meetings to make things better, but it's a penalty. It's a penalty all day long.
Was it a penalty?
I wasn't convinced it was a penalty.
Yeah.
I didn't think there was enough in it to give us, so I thought it was the correct decision. He's adamant, Stephen, and he'll see it one way, but I only saw it on a highlights programme, and for me it wasn't a penalty. And it wasn't a big talking point either afterwards,
Yeah.
So he's obviously maybe had 3 or 4 looks at it, and he's adamant it was, but the angle I saw it from, it didn't look a penalty to me.
Well, the one positive aspect of it all for Stephen Naismith, he's got 3 points. There's 2 points behind St Mirren, and this is them apparently who were under pressure 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, I thought the second half of the game, I thought they were a lot better. I think Craig Levein can take a lot out of the first half. I thought St Johnstone looked organised, they had a few chances. So if I was him, I'd be sitting there going, oh, this is a wee bit better than what I thought it was going to be. But the second half, Hearts turned it on a wee bit, and as we all know, getting a goal, everybody just lifts the whole stadium, players start appearing out of nowhere, and in the end, they deserve to win the game.
Okay, and what about your boys? 2-1 against Hibs, and I have to say the first goal was just an absolute joy of good football, of passing the ball on the deck from one end of the park to the other.
It was a terrific goal. Hibs played out from the back. Tavares, who was in Siberia under Lee Johnson, I don't think he was even getting changed in the dressing room. I think he was training with the kids and all that. And what a comeback from him! He's shown his talent now. Big outlay from Hibs. Hibs signed him on a 5-year deal from Benfica, so he's obviously got something. Didn't work out for him under Lee Johnson, but he's been in great form under Nick Montgomery, and I thought it was a brilliant goal. I thought he's turned away for the defender. He plays it wide into Venti, continues his run, doesn't just admire his pass, gets himself in the box and it breaks to him, and he finishes it nicely. And Hibs played a lot of good football, created chances, deserved to win. Listen, the sending off changes the game because Dundee scored straight after it, and then they've got to hang on towards the end. But good result for Hibs against a Dundee team that have been going well.
Should he have been sent off?
Yeah, I think the first booking, it's. I think the manager will be angry with that, Peter. It's dissent, but the second one I thought could have been a second yellow card, so I thought he got it right. And luckily for him, his teammates held on, because I think the manager and the players would have went through him if they'd dropped points again.
Yeah, it's one of those ones when you get sent off, you're sitting in the dressing room, you're listening to the noises, and you're thinking, have I cost the team the points?
I've been in that position.
That's why I looked at you
myself a couple of times, and even if we won, I still got it in the neck from Martin. Don't worry about that. Yeah, it was. I agree with Ham. It was 2 yellows, so can't argue it. And great win for Hibs off the back of beating Kilmarnock. So they're starting to slowly put results together that the performances deserve. I thought they were very unlucky in the League Cup semi-final as well, not to get over the line. But yeah, they're playing some good stuff, and I loved the first goal. I loved the dummy from Campbell as well. That's great awareness. It was a good finish from Tavares. And what I liked about the second goal is something that you don't really associate with Hibs that often, is a towering header from a set play as well. It was a great goal from Miller.
Yeah, they're starting to look
they are
as if they could be a team heading, up and beyond St Mirren.
Well, yeah, I would expect that, Pete, as the season goes on. I'd expect Hearts to be up there as well, because they have invested in the team. Nick's come in there and he's putting his own sort of brand of football on the way he wants them to play, and he's quite intense the way he goes about his business. I like the cut of his jib. Yeah, so positives for Hibs. You know, if they can keep that consistency going, they could end up third for me.
Aberdeen at home next game.
Yeah, that'll be a test.
Big game.
That'll be good.
Big game.
Yeah, huge. Who have you got third then?
I don't know, can't remember. I think I went Aberdeen.
Yeah, you going to stick with them?
No.
No, don't worry, Ruffy usually changes mid-April.
Yeah, give me a shout.
Exactly.
That's Dundee back in the relegation trouble now.
Yeah, yeah.
I said if they'd won.
Flip-flops, still at Ruffy, yeah.
No, I said if they'd won on Saturday.
David Marsh had a couple of good saves as well.
Yes,
Pleased for
certainly
Marsh.
did.
He's been
Yes,
getting criticised with the
he has.
supporters, but he was a big part in getting 3 points.
Yeah, okay. St Mirren, winning ways, 1-0. Livingston, albeit an own goal.
Yeah, I mean, I watched the highlights. It didn't look a great game, Peter. And by all accounts, my brother-in-law was at the game. As a St Mirren fan, said it was a terrible game. But they got 3 points, and that's all that matters. I think they could have been more comfortable. I think the goal got chopped off for VAR was tight. But Livingston really toiling at the minute. I think 6 defeats in a row, Peter.
Yeah.
Hard to see where they're getting their next points from. They don't look as if they can score a goal at the minute, and they're conceding goals. So I think he's got a big job on David Martindale. He's got to try and get 2 or 3 in January, or I think they're going to get relegated this season.
Yeah, Stephen Robson knows it was a battle, but happy that his side came out on top.
It's when you play Livy, it's a battle, it's a scrap. The game's reduced to longer balls, and you have to land in seconds, and you have to be physical. And I thought we done that. I thought we matched them.
Well, still, you know, when you look at them in that table, Ruffy, they're still in a place where I think Stephen Robinson will be tremendously proud of what they're doing.
Yeah.
They are 22 points. You know, we always say 37 is where you're in trouble. If you can get to 37, you might avoid 10th place. They'll be looking and saying to themselves, if we can keep this going through that very, you know, condensed period, you know.
Well, they'll be looking at top 6. At this moment, they are a top 6 team, you know, and as long as they keep beating the teams that they should be beating, particularly at home, they will be top 6. They'll have a wee run. They'll definitely have, like Motherwell having a bad run apart for the weekend there. But St Mirren will come across that, and everybody thought it was going to be after that Dundee result. But as I said on Friday, they had a fortnight to get that out of the system, and you know, they've had a good fixture against Livingston to get them back on the rails. So it just depends what kind of fixture list they've coming up.
Yeah, and Livingston boss David Martindale, no excuses.
I don't think it was a lot in the game, so I'm not what to sit here and say St Mirren didn't deserve the 3 points, or we deserve something from the game, because ultimately we got nothing from the game. You've only got yourself to blame there, really.
I'll tell you one thing, when you look at the bottom of the table, we have Livingston done and dusted, 6 consecutive defeats. I think we all have a look at it, but when you have a situation where you've got St Johnstone and Ross County down there, and Ross County, you know, managed to keep a clean sheet with Derek Adams obviously waving to the crowd, his first game in charge at home.
Yeah, I thought they should have won that one. I thought I was impressed with them. They had a few chances. Again, both goalkeepers having really good saves at important times. And he'll be encouraged by that. But they need to get... We keep talking about St Johnstone, saying the only way they're going to survive if May and Clark and Kane are scoring goals. Ross County are the same. They need Brophy and the other 2 boys, Murray and the other boy, to start scoring again, and that'll give them a chance.
Yeah, here's the table, Neil. We will all change our mind when we see that table non-stop, especially over the festive period. But I think everybody's just waiting and saying, okay, the top end of it could be decided in December 30th. The rest of it is just going to be the battle to get into the top 6 and the battle to avoid that bottom 3.
Yeah, it's. I mean, is that Livy on 10 points? Yeah. So they're still well in it, Pete. You know what I mean? With they're only 3 points behind Motherwell and Ross County, despite the run that they're on at the minute. So you can't write them off. But I just think going into the season with the budget that Davy has to work on, it was always going to be a really tough season for him. And St Johnstone, Ruffy touches on. He makes a great point about the lack of goals. You know, and they've always been well set up over the years under Tommy and Callum to be difficult to beat. And, you know, they nick a win here and there with the likes of May and Keane, but if they're not scoring, it doesn't look good. I'm looking at that now and thinking it's not going to change that much. I don't think. I thought Dundee, I think they'll be bottom 6, but I don't think they'll make the bottom 2 now.
And do you expect Aberdeen to make that push? Because after Helsinki, they've got Hibs away, Kilmarnock, Hearts, and then Eintracht Frankfurt before they go in the League Cup final against Rangers.
Yeah, I mean, it's a hell of a fixture list they've got coming up. I think Aberdeen will settle the second half of the season because they'll be out of Europe. I think that's taking a toll on the performances and the mental and physical fatigue it takes out of you. I think Aberdeen will be top 6, okay.
Yeah?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Helsinki, do you think they can get a result on Thursday?
No.
No?
No, I think they'll maybe grind out a draw. I don't think they'll win, put it that way.
Helsinki is the painful point of their campaign. Ruffy, they should have won at home.
Yeah, they certainly should have, but they'll go along there. You would like to think that the players will want to take something out of the game. I don't think they're good enough to win it, but as all these fixtures you're picking up there, I think they need to start going some kind of mini run to get themselves upwards.
I think they'll beat Helsinki. I think they're poor. I think Aberdeen will beat them, but Hibs will be sitting waiting, rubbing their hands. They're travelling away again. They're coming back. Hibs are waiting for them, I think, on Sunday at home. And I would fancy Hibs to beat a tired Aberdeen, but I think Aberdeen are capable of going there and winning.
Okay. What about the predictor? It's hard going, by the way. Yeah. This predictor's doing everybody's head in. Look at Ruffy. He's out in front, but look who's on your tail, Ruffy. Ruffy, I am on your tail. And as you look at Tam, it's just been poor for you. You're two,
I had Rangers Aberdeen for a draw, no?
You're 2 above Alison, and Alison's just. Alison's so lucky that we're not having the loser at this moment, because she'd be taking everybody out for the drink.
There's only 2.5 points or 3 points between all of us.
Well, it is.
Can I ask, what's happened to Kerry? She just dropped off the face of the earth on this?
Kerry's had a real absolute nightmare. She's had a shocker. And if Kerry ends up doing it, it's a happy meal, and we just have to grab what chips.
Hot noodle fondue.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's how the predictor looks. As far as the Scottish Cup draw, just before that, just one little point I want to get. We did mention, so Lazio, Celtic, you get Celtic for a win. What about the really, really good situation I think we've got to be positive about in Europe is I think Rangers have got a real chance to get a good place in that group and have the next stage of European football in the Europa League.
Yeah, I think you would have to fancy Rangers strongly at home against Limassol. I think that was a bit of a freak result. Rangers were toiling at the time under the manager. I think they look a totally different outfit now. Limassol, I think Rangers will hammer them.
Yeah.
I'm going to stick my neck out and say I think Rangers will take 3 or 4 off them at home.
3 or 4 hammering?
Yep.
Right. What about yourself, Ruffy?
I'll go 2-0.
Yeah.
Just does it every time.
What, 2-0?
2-0.
2-0. It's his favourite scoreline.
Bog standard. It's comfortable 2-0 or a
Have you looked at that prediction league?
Yeah, he's top.
Did
You're
you
not.
see that prediction league?
Does he just go 2-0 every game?
It's 2-0.
2-0.
Process of elimination.
There's a nervy 2-0 or a comfortable 2-0. What's it going to be, Ruffy?
Oh, comfortable.
Yeah. I think Rangers will win 2-0 comfortable.
I think Cypriot teams don't travel that well. The weather will play a part in it as well, in Rangers' favour. I think they'll win it. I think 3-1.
3-1.
I fancy Aris to score 1.
Okay. As far as the European football is concerned, fingers crossed we get some positive results from all 3 clubs. As far as the Scottish Cup draw is concerned, Bucky are absolutely, they'll probably be breaking out the Bucky after the draw because they have managed to get Celtic. What a fantastic Scottish Cup 4th round draw.
Brilliant for them, Peter. I think when you're a club like that and you get into that 4th round, you're desperate for Celtic or Rangers. And I think Bucky Thistle playing White Hoops as well. I think there's a storyline between the 2 of them as well. I think there was a donation of strips many years ago up to Bucky and they playing Hoops. So, listen, they'll go down. Celtic will go through comfortably, but they'll make a fortune.
Is the game at Bucky?
It's at Celtic.
Oh, that's a bonus for them.
Massive bonus.
Oh, it's unbelievable.
It is fantastic. Here's the first page of the draw. Airdrieonians against St Johnstone, Ayr United, Kelty, Bonnyrigg Rose, Falkirk, Brora Rangers, Cove Rangers, Celtic Bucky, Thistle, Clyde against Aberdeen, Dumbarton Rangers, Forfar against Hibernian, and that's page 1 and page 2 of it all. Greenock Morton against Montrose, Inverness, Broomhill, Kilmarnock against Dundee, Livingston Wraith Rovers, Motherwell Alloa, Ross County Partick Thistle, St Mirren against Queen of the South, and Spartans take on.
That's a great draw for
Brilliant,
Spartans
isn't
as
it?
well.
Brilliant.
I think they might move that. I think they might. I don't know. I don't know the rules. If you're now allowed to go to the home team, but I think they play at Easter Road.
Yeah, so do
I'd
I.
play at Easter Road if I was Spartans.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's would fill that. Well, they'd have a right good support there on Spartans as well.
That's going to be a great game because there's a real good connection in the city.
Were you at Hibs when you played
Bonnyrigg?
at Tynecastle?
Uh-huh.
7-0 or 8-0.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But these draws are fantastic for all these clubs.
Yeah, because you're expecting, the thing about it is, when it's the smaller clubs, it's great for them, the occasion and everything, but you've still got to say to your guys, listen, focus, do a job.
Yeah, absolutely. But the revenue it's going to bring for these clubs is just brilliant, you know. And I'd say most of the big boys will be delighted with the draw.
Just as a wee downside, Ruffy, in the lower leagues in Scotland at the weekend, Dick Campbell has quit as Arbroath manager. When I saw the pictures of him arguing with the fans, I thought the game's up. He's probably had enough of it. Doesn't need it. He can leave. In fact, I actually sent a little text to Rob Douglas and I said that whole team, the manager and the backroom staff, can leave with their heads held high.
Yeah, and it was only, 2 seasons ago they could have been in the Premier League,
Yep.
you know, that we so near it. And then obviously, I think finances and players moving on and not replacing them have got a lot to do. They've missed the big centre-half boy, the big boy O'Brien this year. He's a big player for them. But no, you're right, you know, I think fans now, not all fans, but a lot of fans have got a large say in managers coming to decisions, and that looked a bit nasty, you know, afterwards. And he's probably just said, look, I don't need this at my time of life.
Yeah, he's a good manager. He's a
Unbelievable.
brilliant character.
What a job he's done there. On, again, a limited budget. And Ruffy touched on him almost getting promotion 2 years ago. That would have been a miracle, Pete. And he's a great football guy, and he's very well thought of in the game. And a lot of fans have short memories, you know, and I don't want him treated with a disrespect. You know, he should be well respected, and he is among football people in the game. Really well thought of.
The real downside that you won't be aware of, Neil, for this is it could mean if he doesn't take another manager's job on, it could mean that he comes onto the after dinner circuit, and that limits your chance to do any gigs at all.
They're not going to hire 2 dicks.
financially, it's a blow for yourself. It's a blow for yourself. Anyway, Dick is some man. He's a good after dinner speaker, good character, absolutely brilliant. And listen, we wish him well. I think it'd be a loss if he decided to hang up the old cap and not manage another club. There's always somebody that needs Dick Campbell, believe me. Before we get to the English Premier League and potentially talking about one of the most amazing goals witnessed over the weekend and for many a year, every week we have a competition where we give everybody the chance to say, are you taking the job? So this week it's the Republic of Ireland. Have you been contacted?
No, not yet, but it's something that I would value and be very interested in, no question.
Yeah.
Going to log in to see the odds, isn't it?
But, like all these jobs, Pete, there'll be a plethora of outstanding candidates. So there'll be a process, there'll be a short list, I'm sure, and they'll just be working through it at the minute. So, you know, keep my fingers crossed to get an opportunity to speak to them.
Well, I was going to say to you, if ever there is, you know, there are certain jobs that I think are ideally suited to yourself, you know, at a certain point in life, you would have a really good squad there that you could work with.
I think Stephen blooded a number of very good young players. It was difficult to bring that through and then get results at the same time. So, yeah, I mean, he will look back on his time, I'm sure, with a lot of pride, and he should do. But the opportunity's there now, you know, for someone to take it on, and I think it'll be a good time to go in as well.
Yeah, because of all your experience, what do you think you really would bring to that job, as well as the experience, and you know, what is it that makes it really appealing to you?
Well, one, it's, you know, Ireland, you know, and it's obviously a big pull for me. 2, I think that there's potential there to, like, the target will always be, I'm sure, to qualify for the tournament. So you got to be realistic about that. But 3, you know, find a set formation and a way of getting results now. It's not just about for me, performances is about winning games. And, you know, you look at what Steve's done with Scotland, you know, I think they're ahead of the curve compared to Ireland, but I think Ireland can get there.
Yeah, and when they do get close to competitions and getting to major competitions, what a fan base they are.
Unbelievable. I mean, I was in France in 2016 and I went to see them play Sweden, and I mean, there was thousands came, you know, and partied and had a great time, and they've got a huge amount of pride in the team and the country. So yeah, I mean, you know, I've managed Celtic over a long period of time, and this would be pretty similar, I think.
Yeah, and the other good thing about it from our point of view is we want you to get it because it means that you don't leave the team, because international managers very rarely work on a Monday.
International manager, what a job that is. A lot of downtime. A lot of downtime there, by the way.
We'll be very busy.
The worrying thing for us is Tam's not got any pals now in a job. All his manager pals are all that he used to say, speaking to him, that's no speaking to anybody now. They've all gone. They've gone.
They've all gone. So unfortunately, he's
I'm not giving you my number there.
No, exactly. Unfortunately, he's not your mate. So so you're all right. English Premier League, Garnacho, one of the best.
It's up there with any other, like the Rooney one.
Is it better than Rooney's?
Don't know.
I think it was a cleaner contact.
There was a Ronaldo one in the European. Gareth Bale. It's up there with them.
Zidane's in the...
Yeah.
A little bit different from Zidane's at Hampden. Do you remember that one?
Yeah, with the left volley.
What's a goal, Pete?
Ibrahimovic's overhead kick against England.
Yeah.
70 yards out.
Yeah, but
What's a goal?
I heard a comment yesterday. It's one of the, you know, the best goals the Premier League has ever seen, and I thought to myself, no, I'm sorry. When Nani crossed for Rooney, it took a slight deflection, so he had to readjust his timing. Although it did catch the shin, it's a huge game. It's in the dying minutes, and he thinks, I'm going to hit this as an overhead kick. I thought Rooney's, given in the context of everything that was at stake against a City side and the way the ball comes over and he has to readjust, I thought it was a better goal. But Garnacho's phenomenal.
Yeah, phenomenal contact, as Tom says as well. And he's beaten the England goalkeeper, all ends up like, you know, I don't think Pickford had any chance for
He his wee arms up to it.
Yeah.
When I saw him, like, wow, what a goal.
Yeah.
You know, right in the top corner. I mean, it looks even better when you see it like that, you know, but the athleticism and the balance and the timing, everything, just that split second brilliance. What a goal.
Yeah, it's fantastic. It's one of those ones.
The ones you love, innit?
Oh, you celebrate them. You just absolutely love it. I wonder if is it the best of the overheads? I mean, I think Gareth Bale's against Liverpool.
Trevor Sinclair scored the cracker.
Oh, he did, yeah. Yeah,
that's one of the best.
Rangers.
He did, yeah.
I was with Trevor on Friday. You know, don't want to name drop, but
You did,
yeah, I did. I thought I'd fire it in there. You know, there's a whole lot of people.
Sinky.
Hey, yeah, the Sinkmeister. It was a great goal by Trevor Sinclair, I have to say, but no, it's definitely up there. It's is it in the top 10 goals of all time in the Premier League?
That's a hard call, Pete, isn't it?
it?
I mean,
Yeah.
there's so many good goals over the years, so just enjoy it. You know?
Absolutely. What about you? You watch Chelsea?
Yes.
It's grim, isn't it?
Unbelievable. I mean, you're thinking they're on the right path. They beat Spurs, they got a 4-4 draw with City, one of the games of the millennium. And then, you know, covered the game, and pretty even first half, pretty good. And then they just collapsed second half. And I didn't see it coming because of all the games that Newcastle have had, you know, they've been running on fumes the last few weeks. Joe Linton and Gomares were playing in Brazil on Wednesday night. Came back and played for 90 minutes, incredible fitness levels, and they blew Chelsea away. But what Chelsea were doing was, we talk about this a lot, Pete, still trying to play it from the back at 3-1 down.
Yeah.
You know, you didn't see Nick Pope touch the ball really, because everything. So when a team is pressing as well as Newcastle do, you have to find another way of playing out, or playing through them, or getting beyond them, flipping it down the sides, because they've got good runners in Brua and Sterling.
Or maybe even the Aberdeen way?
Yeah, but I mean, there's millions of ways to skin a cat, right? But my point is, whatever they were doing, it wasn't working. And then they lost all physical. You know, you got Fernandes, a World Cup winner, Caicedo, £115 million midfield player, just totally bereft of physicality, and Newcastle stomped all over them. And the third goal comes from, of all people, Thiago Silva. You know, again playing from the back, and then he's in two men. He goes to play it, then doesn't. Then he sort of, you know, that one he stutters, Tom, and Joe Linton just goes, "Bump, thanks very much," whacks it in the net.
Yeah. I noticed
so easy to play against.
I noticed he apologised at the end of the game as well.
Thiago. He doesn't have to apologise for anything, you know, the career he's had, like, but it just wasn't his day. But yeah, he always stands up for me. The rest of them didn't.
Yeah.
You know, you're looking at I know they're young side, but that's not an excuse anymore.
Ange Ball, he's got to go. He's fifth.
Devastated. What a game. It was a great game of football.
It was a brilliant game, but I feel sorry for him because...
They didn't. I thought they deserved at least a point. I thought second half they had created numerous chances. I think they had 2 goals disallowed for offside. Son. Villa are an excellent team as well. Both teams playing a high line, so it was congested in the middle, and it was just who could get through and some great goals as well. But I enjoyed the game. But Ange he's getting crippled a wee bit. I think the big boy came off as well.
Yeah.
Bentancur got injured early doors. He's just back as well. So, he's struggling with injuries at the minute. Spurs.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. We like to talk football. We'll give you an opinion. Some you agree with, some you don't. If you hit the subscribe button on PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel, you can join the football family. Download the app and you'll get all the breaking stories at your fingertips as well. We're right across all our social media. Thanks to Ruffy, thanks to Neil Lennon, and of course Tam McManus. And from myself, Peter Martin, thank you for listening and of course watching our programme.